Hi everyone, I'm Jodi Barrows with The Square in a Square, and I have been asking you to send in quilts that you would like adapted over to the Square in a Square system or any questions that you have about quilting. And so I'm going to do one tonight from an email that was sent to us with a lady who wanted to know how to make a gorgeous quilt, and it's just simple option 14. Very much like this one that you'll see behind me. When we get into it, it's going to be the same thing. This one is called Indian Blanket, and you'll be able to get to that pattern for those of you that are interested on it on our website. So before we get started looking at the quilt and seeing how easy it is to make, all of these triangle units don't have to be scary at all. Let's do a little bit of our housekeeping. So let's come down here and look at our information. Today's quilt project is squareinacom/Indian Blanket. So if you're wanting that pattern, you can go right to the website and do an E pattern. Also, front slash, I guess, not backslash. Okay. And also, here is our information. Our website is squareinasquare.com. Our Facebook page is facebook.com//square in a square. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com Jodi Barrows. And of course, you want to email me a pattern that you would like to see done on our videos here. Just email it jodi@squareinasquare.com. So that's all of our information for you on any of our products or patterns. And of course, everything we do, we use our square and a square ruler to do all of our trimming. And everything starts out with just a square in the middle and strips on the side. And then this is the basic book. It's volume 1, the reference book. It's going to have your first 17 options in it. It's going to have your chart so you know what sizes of squares and strips to work with. And it's going to have over 30 quilts. And those quilts will be broke down into multiple block sizes so that you can make that quilt block any size that you want. And you can go right to our website to see the reference books and the rulers and all of that. So let's come back down on the table here and let's look at the process of making our option 14. The option 14 is when you get lots of triangles inside a square, and that repeats identically 4 times in the block. So everything starts out just like this with a square in the middle, strips on the side. And the first time you trim, you're going to trim right up to the tip. And we'll do that trimming here in just a minute, but we want to walk through the process of the block. And you do that on all 4 corners. Now, that would be like our option 4 half square triangles. And if you look at our option, we do have a set of normal half square triangles here in the beginning. So that's why our block has to start out like that, is because we have the half square triangles. Then you're going to sew around it again. And this time you're going to trim leaving 1/4 of an inch. So in this one, you can see how we left the 1/4 of an inch on there. And it will look it'll look like this. And you'll sew around it again. And on this very last trim, you're going to trim right up to the tip on all 4 corners. See that sharp 2-step trim. Then you cut it, and you're going to get your 4 units with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles. So 20 triangle units from just taking a square and sewing around it 3 times. So let's look at this again. So here you can see our square that we started with in the middle, and we did the close trim. And when you do that close trim and you sew around it again, see this blunted edge that you're getting? And this is what you need here, so that you'll have your seam allowance off of your tips when you sew it into the next step of your quilt. And here you can see the 1/4 of an inch on all 4 corners. So this one, you would sew around it again, trim right up to the tip on all 4, cut, and get your 4 half square triangles. You can see them here in the corner. You can see them here in the corner of this block. So just flying geese, a square, and a rectangle, and the option 14 in the corner. And then also here with this one, you can see the option 14 in the corner. This is an option 15. So go back and look in our option overviews and look for 15. And look how beautiful this block is. And it is not difficult or hard to do. Option 15, option 14. So before we look at the quilts and break down the sections, let's look at trimming a block and what it looks like. So you're going to take the 90 and put it right in the tip. See how that line lines up over your seams and your grid line goes right through the point? And you do that to all 4 corners. So leave that 1/4 of an inch on all 4 corners. So anytime you're trimming, leaving the 1/4 of an inch, that's what you want to do, is put the 90 in there and see how that leaves that perfect 1/4 of an inch. Now when you're trimming up to the tip, you're going to do what we call the 2-step. And this is some of our railroad fabric, our transcontinental railroad. So now we want to put the 90 in the tip, and I'm afraid that black is going to be too hard for you to see. So we're just going to go back in and redo this one. So instead of leaving the 1/4 of an inch, see how we're stepping it over 2 lines and putting the tip of the line right in the tip of the square and trimming it up. And as you go through and learn your options, this is all there is to it. Either leaving the 1/4 of an inch or going right up to the tip. So all 4 corners, put the 90 in there and just slide it or step it over 2. Whoops, keep it straight on this outside edge. Okay, now for the option 14, you don't want to cut it up yet. You want to sew around it again. And see this sharp point right here? When you sew around it again, see this blunted area? But that's good. That's what you want, because that's going to be your seam allowance here and here when you come in here and get your final round and get ready to cut it into the 4 units. That's your seam allowance here. So the options know exactly where to trim, leaving a 1/4 or right up to the tip, so that when you get to your final results, everything is right where you need it to be. So let's look at this little block again. So because of our tip here, see how you now, when it's sewn, you have your nice sharp point right there. And because of your last trim being a sharp trim, when you come in and sew it, see there's your point right there. So you have room to come back in and sew a 1/4 of an inch. So anytime you're cutting the block up, you're going to have to trim it different and do that 2-step trim. So let's go in here and let's look at, while we're here at the table, let's look at this quilt. So this one here is option 14, and you get 4 of these option 14s out of one block. So look, here's an option 14. Here's an option 14. And here and here. So all 4 of these are going to come out of one square. We started with the brown, we sew around it with the white, sew around it with the brown, and finish sewing around it with the white. So one square will get this whole side. So if you make 4 squares, you're going to get all of these outside. You're going to get over 80 triangle units and starting out with 4 squares. And then here we just switched the colors up and did the red with the cream and the red with the cream. So you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 out of one square. So you're going to have to make 2 squares in the red. You won't believe how fast this one is. And this one's called Exploding Star, and it's in your Volume 1 reference book, the book I showed you tonight. So let's go back up here to the table, to the Indian blanket, and let's look at this quilt. So when you look at it, you see all these beautiful triangle units, and this is just a scrappy quilt. So this is a great one to jump in there and start getting your scraps going. So let's look at the option 14. So I've got this little cutout paper. So here you can see it in this block. And since the center triangle is dark, then you know you're going to start out with a dark square and then go light and then go dark and then go light. So dark square, sew around it light, all 4 sides, trim it, sew around it dark, all 4 sides, trim it, sew around it light, all 4 sides, trim it. And look how you're going to get all 4 of these. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4. So really what you did is this was on the inside. So when you have this cut like this on your table, all you're going to do is flip it, and that blue triangle that was in here, you're going to put it on the outside edge. Flip it, so that the dark triangle is on the outside. So this all comes from one option 14, and you start out with the dark in the middle. Now these here, and look how those four come together, just beautiful. So this one is the same thing, but what makes it different is we started out with the light square in the middle, and then we went dark on all four sides, then light on all four sides, then dark again. So it's the same thing. Some are starting light, some are starting dark, and you just do opposite on each round. So look what happens here. So this was the light that was in the middle, and when you've cut it, all you have to do is just flip it around, and you've got this square. So this is one block, this is one block, and that's just the repeat of the quilt and how easy it is to do. And this one is called Indian Blanket. You can go to squareinaSquare.com/Indian Blanket. So let's look at our information a little bit more. And I'll check and see if we have any questions. So today's quilt project is squareinaSquare.com Indian Blanket. And you can reach us, and make sure you sign up and join on our Facebook page, on our YouTube. And also, if you want information on the Premium Club, which is a special dedicated website where we do all of our teaching and store all of our videos on there and do special projects. And we'll be opening the Premium Club up very soon. So go to our website, sign up for the email, say that you're interested in Premium Club. We'll send you the information so that you can decide if this is something that you want to join. It's a video sessions that you get to go in and watch anytime. It's a membership, and we are just having a ball in the Premium Club, and we want you to come and join us. You'll learn all kinds of tips and hints and way to improve and becomes the piecer that you've always dreamed of. There's no reason why you can't make beautiful quilts. You don't have to shy away from small pieces or lots of triangle units. With the Square in a Square system and the science of patchwork that we teach, everything becomes very, very easy to do. And we're waiting for you. And we're sewing in our bunny house shoes in our sewing room anytime that we want. You can start with any, the question is how big are the squares? You can start with any size of square that you want. And you, if you're following the pattern in the book, it's going to give you specific ones. And also you can go to the option 14 chart in the book, and it will give you center square, first row of strips, second and third. But basically, whatever your square is in the middle, you divide it in half and add 1/4 of an inch. And that's how wide your strips are for the next row. Then you measure your new square, divide it in half, add 1/4 of an inch, and that's the next row. And that is on your option 1 page also if you have the volume 1 reference book. You can also just jump in there and start trying. If your strips don't get wide enough, you're going to wind up with an option 12 pineapple. So there's no way to go wrong. You just wind up with a little bit different design than what you had in mind. Thanks for watching the Square in a Square. Join us again real soon for another live session. I'm Jodi Barrows. Bye-bye.